Hey sewing friends, I'm Lindsay and this is Inside the Hem. If you have been dreaming of sewing your very first handmade garment but you are not sure where to start, this is the video for you. Today, I am sharing 3 beginner-friendly patterns that will teach you important garment sewing skills and set you up for success. Each of the patterns builds upon the one before it, and all of these patterns are 100% free, so it's a low-risk investment. Technically, if it doesn't work out, you won't be out a ton of money, but it's going to work out. Everything's going to work out just fine. All right, so let's dive in. The very first pattern that I want to suggest is the elastic waist skirt pattern. And if you've been sewing for any amount of time, you were probably giggling to yourself because it's where we all begin. We all make a tote bag and then we make an elastic waist skirt. It's just how it goes. And it's an absolute classic like that for a reason. It's simple, it's fast, and it teaches you a bunch of sewing fundamentals in a way that feels approachable and not super overwhelming. You're not going to have a million pattern pieces. You're not going to have to worry about fits. You're not going to have an instruction booklet that's 45 pages long. The main thing that you are going to practice here is picking your size, but also learning how to cut your fabric. An elastic waist skirt is really just 2 rectangles sewn together. So cutting this is not complicated, but learning how to do it correctly is a skill that is important to learn, because once you get into those complicated patterns with a million pattern pieces, knowing how to cut them correctly will save you so much time and frustration. Beyond that, you are going to practice sewing a straight line. And I know that sounds silly, but it's not always second nature to do that, and getting good practice always helps. You're also going to learn how to hem a garment. A hem is usually at the bottom of a garment. It is the fabric folded up twice, preventing that edge from fraying, from the fabric from fraying. And it also gives it a nice professional finish as well. It might sound intimidating, but again, with our simple rectangle patterns, you have a flat edge on the hem of your skirt, and pressing that and sewing that because it's straight is going to be just fine for a beginner. Another great skill that you're going to pick up with the elastic waist skirt is how to make a casing. A casing is the thing at the top that's going to hold your elastic. So with that, you're also going to learn how to actually thread the elastic through the casing. You're going to make sure that it lays nice and flat and that it is super comfortable to wear. My go-to elastic waist skirt pattern for beginners is the George and Ginger Bad Rep set. So you're actually getting 2 patterns in this one free pattern. The first one is a high neck knit, like t-shirt, like crop top. And then the second one is the elastic waist skirt. So it's one of those patterns that will grow with you. So you're going to make the elastic waist skirt first, and then down the line, maybe you can explore the knit top. The skirt pattern also comes with optional additional tiers. Don't make those for your first pattern. Consider those for your second or third version of this elastic waist skirt. Sewing tiers to a basic elastic waist skirt will require a new skill called gathering. So let's not go there yet. Let's build upon that. Maybe that'll be your 4th pattern. All right, so once you've sewn your elastic waist skirt, you're feeling comfortable, you're ready to try something new, move on to a basic woven top. This one is going to be slightly more complicated than the elastic waist skirt. We are going to learn a few more fundamental skills, but it's still totally doable from a beginner. A basic woven top is going to be pretty much a boxy design. So again, we're not really focused on fit, but it is going to have some elements to it that are going to create a visual, like 3D element to your 2D fabric. This comes in the way of learning how to sew darts. Darts are those little triangles that are sewn out of fabric, like literally sewn away from the fabric. You'll usually see them horizontally at the bust line, maybe sometimes vertically at the shoulders. And you've also seen them like radiating up and down from like a waistband. They essentially give your garment some 3D literal space for the curves of your body. Once you learn how to sew darts, you are going to unlock a huge range of patterns that are going to focus on being a little bit more fitted, if that is your personal style. With this top, you're also going to learn how to sew a neckline facing. Facing is a second layer of fabric that is sewn to the inside of the garment that essentially finishes off the raw edge of the neckline, giving it a crisp and clean and professional look. Working with facings is a huge confidence booster because they really are super simple to sew, but the results are like, you're just going to be like, whoa, I did that and that looks so good, and you're gonna be so proud of yourself, and you're gonna be ready to go. All right, on top of that, you're also gonna learn a slightly more advanced version of hemming. In our skirt, we hemmed a straight line, right? With this top, you're gonna learn how to sew a curved line and also one that has a smaller opening. And I'm talking about the opening of the arm. The pattern I'm gonna suggest does not have a set-in sleeve. It's a grown-on sleeve, so you don't have to worry about sleeves, but we do need to hem that area. So learning how to do a smaller, more finicky hem is going to teach you some better control at your sewing machine. You are most likely going to sew this garment out of something pretty stable, like a cotton or linen. So again, just like fitting, how we're kind of eliminating that from these first few projects, fabrication is also something that we're going to be eliminating for the most part. Stable fabrics like that are not going to be difficult for you to cut, sew, or press. So it's one less thing for you to have to worry about while you're learning all of these new construction skills. All right, so my choice for a beginner-friendly basic woven top is the Seamwork Handsy top. It covers everything I've mentioned, plus it also comes with an optional lapel pocket. You do not have to sew that on your first version. But if you're feeling up for it for the second or third version, you could sew that pocket and then learn an additional skill, which would be how to make and sew on pockets. The next pattern that you're going to try in your garment sewing speed course is a A-line spaghetti strap dress. This pattern, obviously, is going to level up your skills in terms of sewing straps, but it's still going to keep things super simple, beginner friendly, and very fun. You're going to learn how to make spaghetti straps. That's kind of like the big one on this. Spaghetti straps are those thin, kind of delicate straps that give summer dresses their like easy breezy vibe. Making spaghetti straps is a great way to practice sewing tubes and then also turning them right side out. Once you've learned how to sew spaghetti straps, then you automatically already know how to also sew belts, ties, drawstrings, all of those things. So you'll learn this one skill on this beginner pattern, and then you'll be able to apply that skill to future patterns down the line. You're also going to get some practice working with bias bindings. Bias bindings are an alternative to facings. They are smaller, a little bit more finicky, a little bit more difficult to cut out, maybe you would say, but they are an integral part of sewing garments. Some people prefer them over facings, some don't. You'll have to learn that for yourself. Ultimately, you will use bias binding to finish raw edges, similar to a hem, similar to a facing, and you'll give them a clean, bias binding gives them a clean, professional look without being too bulky. And you can also apply it everywhere. Necklines, sleeve openings, sleeveless openings, and in the pattern I'm going to suggest, it's going to be the underarm raw edge that's under your arm here. All right, so most sewing patterns, dress sewing patterns, are going to come with some version of a pocket. The easiest one to learn is an inseam pocket. The pattern I'm going to suggest does come with that. So you are going to learn how to add pockets to dresses, which is just going to reinvigorate your life in a way you never knew. Dresses with pockets are a thing. It's real. We love them. We don't know why, but it does. It is. We have to have them. So you're going to learn how to sew a pocket, and you're going to add them to all your sewing patterns, whether they come with them or not. And with this pattern, we're also going to dip our toe a little bit into fit and fabrication. The pattern does not have any darts or anything like shaping wise, but it is a little bit fitted across the bust. So you will start to figure out how picking your pattern size relates to how it fits onto your body. And then fabrication wise, you could try and use a lighter weight fabric, still cotton, still linen, but something a little bit lighter weight, so that you can start to get a feel for how different weight fabrics feel under your machine, how they cut, how they press, and things like that. This will set you up for kind of the trickiest of all the fabrics, which is like rayon fabrics, silky fabrics, the really, really drapey ones. That said, the pattern is very forgiving everywhere else. So you're not going to have to worry about hips or bellies or thighs or anything like that. You're really just going to pay attention to the fit right here at your upper bust, which the pattern is going to talk you through completely. So you're still going to be focusing on learning these new techniques, but you're also going to be building some confidence when it comes to fit and fabrication as well. Okay, my favorite beginner-friendly kind of A-line spaghetti strap dress is, I think, relatively new, but it's the Helen's Closet Orchard top and dress. Again, it covers all of the skills that I mentioned before, but you can start to experiment with hacking a little bit because you can make a top version or a dress version. Within that, you can also extend it to a maxi length if you wanted. You could take some of the skills from the elastic waist skirt and add a tier to it. It's a really basic place to start for an A-line dress that you can really hack and reimagine a million different ways. So there you have it. 3 awesome free beginner garment sewing projects that will teach you real essential skills while still letting you end up with something totally wearable, totally cute, totally impressive, and build your confidence within the garment sewing niche. Start simple. Pick the patterns that I've picked out here or similar ones, whatever feels most exciting to you, but don't overdo it. Trust yourself. Every stitch you sew is learning something new. So how do we feel? Are we ready to go? Who's going to download the elastic waist skirt immediately? Let's chat in the comments. I and the rest of the viewers here who've been sewing for a little bit longer are ready to cheer you on. I know you can do this. I'm excited for you to embark on this journey. I will see you all very soon. Bye.